Good morning, everyone. I'm Erin Kennedy with Class and Reunion Programs at Cornell University. I'm so excited to introduce two wonderful Cornell alumni. Live with us today from Tully, New York, we have Michelle Vaith, Class of 1998, Associate Vice President for Alumni Affairs, and live from Altoona, Florida, is Barbara Keeney Mandigo, Class of 1937. I'll turn this over to you, Michelle.
Well, Barbara, I hear that you recently celebrated your 105th birthday. Congratulations.
Right.
With all those years of experience and wisdom, what life advice would you pass along to your Cornell family?
I would suggest that they all keep a journal, a daily journal that tells where they've been doing and what they've been doing. And that they be a term player, a team player with everyone, and have a plan for what they're going to do today and tomorrow and in the future, and then do it.
That is just outstanding advice. That is wonderful. Well, I have also so enjoyed hearing that Cornell runs really deep in your family. And what I understand is it's 4 generations deep, and your parents, your husband, all 5 of your sons, and 1 granddaughter are all Cornell graduates. How did you and your husband, Richard, meet on the Hill?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that when we were children, my mother gave us this book that we could use for scrapbook and paste anything in it. And it belonged to her uncle, her father's brother. And it was his Cornellian, and he graduated in '02 from engineering. And he had gone to the gold fields in Japan and then became engineer for the city of Los Angeles. And we always wrote back and forth. And then we were shocked when we realized what we were pasting all these years. The thing that I've always been amazed about was that my mother and father met at Cornell. And my father was in the Marine Corps in the Panama Canal when it was first taken over in '03. And somewhere along the line, he learned about Cornell and about the short courses they had there. And so when he left the military, he immediately went to Cornell and enrolled in the short course there. And my mother, when she had finished high school, she also enrolled in this short course, and they met there at that time.
Wow, that is really wonderful. And you and your husband met at Cornell too, right?
Oh, yes.
How did you meet at Cornell? I'd love to know the story.
We had a university 4-H club, and he had been a 4-H club member in Oswego County. And of course, I had been, and had been to many national things. And I was really interested in his roommate. But when Richard came along, that was the one I liked.
That is wonderful. That is amazing. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine all the stories you have about all your family members at Cornell. That's just wonderful. Okay, so in the United States, the 1930s marked, a decade of women's suffrage, the start of the Great Depression, and tremendous changes in women's college education. So could you tell me, what was it like for you as a female student in the College of Home Economics, which is now the College of Human Ecology, to study at Cornell during that time?
Well, my mother was enrolled in the first classes that Flora Rose and Martha Van Rensselaer established in the old Roberts Hall. And they were on the top floor there. And by the time I was ready to go to school, and five of my sisters also had attended Cornell. I had an older one and then four younger ones. When we went in, Miss Rose always welcomed my mother because she had been her pupil there. And so we really enjoyed that. When I had a sabbatical leave from my 4-H job, and I was visiting 4-H clubs in Japan, in Australia, New Zealand, and Afghanistan, or no, in Pakistan. And I found that they were doing the same kind of thing that we were doing at Cornell. Someone from the university was coming out and teaching volunteers all of the latest things in agriculture and homemaking. And then they went back and taught children. And these children often taught their parents the things that they had learned. And I was surprised that they had the same kind of setup that we had back in New York.
That is amazing. It's a great example of Cornell's impact on the world over the generations, I guess.
Well, one of the first things the Australian people asked me was, what does women's lib in? And I really didn't have a very good answer. The only thing I could tell them was some of the things that happened to me when I had worked for the county for 6 or 7 years. Richard and I were going to be married, and they said, we don't want any married women. And
oh my gosh.
So they,
wow.
so they terminated my time. And I worked with the welfare department for 4 or 5 years. And one of the things that happened was that one of the men they employed came in, and they gave him $1,000 more than I had when I had 15 years experience with it. And I said to him, how can you do that? And they said, well, he has a family to support and you have a husband.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And did you ever feel that, or that you were treated differently when you were on campus at Cornell during your studies at Cornell?
Yes. Well, and a few years later, they came back and offered me my old job back with all.
They missed you, huh?
And I was so glad to get back doing 4-H club work. I don't know if you know what the 4-H stand for in 4-H club work.
I don't think I do. Please tell me.
Well, they're head, heart, hand, and help. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, and my country, and my God.
Wow.
And this is what we live by, and all the time we were here. But one thing that I told the girls when they asked about women's rights and so forth, I told them that the rural women really were on an equal with the men because they were a partner in farm life, which was different than living in the cities and so forth.
It's such a different dynamic. I can't even imagine what incredible times and what incredible changes you have seen in the world throughout your wonderful life. I heard, okay, is this true? I heard that you met Eleanor Roosevelt on campus. Can you tell me what was that like, meeting Eleanor Roosevelt?
Oh, about Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah.
You know, uh, when Franklin was governor of New York State, uh, we were using an old building on the campus for the home, uh, and they said they would build us a new building. And she's the one that got her husband to put it through. And so she came to see how the building was coming. And she'd be walking down the hall and she'd stop us students and talk to us. And it was so great. But a few years before that, her husband, Franklin, came to the state fair to dedicate the new building there for 4-H. And he greeted each one of us and shook all of our hands. So I kind of felt that I had seen both parts of him.
Oh my goodness, you met both of them. That is amazing. That is just wonderful. Well, you have been a part of Cornell's Big Red family for basically your entire life. How, in your opinion, has Cornell changed over the years?
Oh, the last, I worked in a family to pay for my board and room 4 hours a day. But the last term, I lived in one of the dorms. And when we came to of course, we ate in the dorms. And when we came to the dining room, there was always a girl at the door that looked us over. And if we were not properly dressed, we couldn't go in to eat. And we also had a head waitress that was there, and we had to greet her both when we came and when we left. And of course, they don't even eat in the dorms anymore. They have central eating places all over.
Did you live in Balch Hall? Did you live in Balch Hall?
Oh, yes.
So did I. I lived in Balch Hall for 4 years, my entire Cornell career. Do you remember what floor you were on? I was on the 6th floor.
I was pretty well on the top floor, but Balch was such a beautiful place.
It was, and it was so nice because you had the little sink room in between the two rooms. So you had kind of the best of both worlds. You had the social aspect of having, you know, a friend in the other bedroom, but if you had to shut the door, you could. I met my best friend, my best girlfriend who lives in San Diego now, was my freshman year Balch Hall sink mate. And we have stayed in touch, you know, the rest of our lives so far. So Balch is a special place.
Yes, but of course, old Risley Hall across the line for that was kind of like an old cathedral.
Yes, it was. It really was. And they're both such beautiful buildings, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We lived in the same building. How neat is that?
It was a great term.
Where do you think is the most beautiful place on campus?
Oh, what's it? The most beautiful place on the campus? Of course, the lower campus was really great in the track there. But of all the buildings that I would spend some more time, if I could, would be the old Moral Hall. That is now a museum that contains all of the special things that people have done over the years establishing Cornell and where the people are now located.
That's wonderful.
I was so impressed when I visited Yale University and the things that they had. And then I thought, well, Cornell's got just as much.
I love it. The good competitive Ivy spirit. When was the last time you were on campus? What year was your last visit to Ithaca?
Well, my folks live only 10 miles outside of the campus. And so we were always going back there to visit. But I think the reunion of my 50th was the last time I was really with her.
I see. Well, in 2 years, it will be your, do I have this right? I think in 2 years, it will be your 85th reunion. And there has never been an 85th reunion at Cornell before. So in 2 years, you will be the first. And we want to see you for your 85th reunion. And it will be amazing. Do you have a favorite Cornell song?
Oh, of course, there's the Cornell song, the evening one is lovely.
Me too.
And my sons, I have 5 sons, and they are all very interested in how things are working. One of them is a hotel. And
Okay.
so he really has his own business on that.
That is wonderful. Do you remember the evening song? Would you like to sing it with me? Are you up for that? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'd love to sing the evening song with you if you're game.
Do you remember that the hotel people always have hotel for a day?
Oh yeah, hotel. I was at Cornell. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it was one time they used Risley for the background, and
yes.
They did castles and so on.
Oh, that is so neat.
Oh, it was just so much fun to go to that.
Wow.
Our son that was in hotel got called in after hotel for a day, and he said, "Oh, I wonder what I did." And when the dean talked to him, he said, "You know, this hotel man came through and left us a few $1,000s and asked us to give it to outstanding students that had done a good job, and we want to give you one of the checks." And
wow.
it was so thrilled with it.
Is that it? What's your favorite Cornell memory? Like if you had to just pick one of your time on campus, what's your favorite memory?
Oh, well, I think attending their hotel for today was really, but of course, when Flora Rose came and met us, when my mother went, this was really exciting.
How wonderful. That is amazing.
And to be remembered by her after all these years.
Well, you are hard to forget. I will never forget this conversation. I am just so honored that we got to spend some time together today. I would love to chat again sometime if you were up for it.
I have to tell you what one of the boys happened to him. That his school asked him where he was going to go to Cornell, or where he was going to go, and he said, "Cornell. Is there any other school?"
Cornell runs deep, and you have so much wonderful big red spirit in your heart, in your family, and just thank you for all that you have done for Cornell, and thank you for keeping that big red spirit alive. We can't have reunion this year because we're all quarantined at the moment. It's a very strange time in the world. But for the first time ever, we are going to have a virtual reunion like this. So on reunion weekend, we've invited all alumni to come together like this through Zoom to really ramp up some Cornell spirit around the world. And that's happening in 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And we're going to be doing Cornelliana night live like this too. I hope that you can tune in and see it. It will be a lot of fun. And then we can sing along to Davy, to Evening Song, and of course to the alma mater.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
We'll be sure to get you the information for it. I know Aaron will make sure that you have it if you'd like to tune in.
Oh, good enough.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. This has really been a pleasure and just such an honor to meet you. And I hope that we can see each other again soon, whether it's over Zoom or whether it's on campus.
Thank you.